All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I'm sure you're going to get a lot out of this. Let's see, as people start coming in, maybe let's start with something fun here. If you are from, let's say, from the USA, can you type USA into the comment box? Yeah, that's what I thought. We have quite a few Americans in here. I love e-commerce. It really, that's the beauty of e-commerce. It allows anyone in the world, I guess, as long as you have the internet, uh, um, to start a successful company. It doesn't matter where you are. And let's see. Okay, do we have anyone from Europe? If you are, maybe type in euro. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we have a few from over the pond as well. I'm from Atlantic Canada. My family and we just moved across Canada this year from Alberta. So we were able to buy quite a large tract of land, and we started a homestead here. So that's sort of been a lifelong dream of ours. We did the 9 to 5 and working all over the place thing for long hours, but we wanted to take it back, maybe move to a little bit easier life, more sustainable though. But I was actually lucky enough to be able to grab a location right on a trophy fishing river. I'm actually, as I'm standing here, I'm looking out and watching the river flow right by right now as I'm presenting this webinar. We probably have, I don't know, 15, 20 bald eagles that they nest like right outside of that window, my front window, so I can watch them all day. It's pretty neat, I'm not going to lie. And on the other side of the river there, that's actually one of the best bass fishing pools in our entire province. Really lucky. When we bought the place, we didn't know that, but then you start asking around to your neighbors and stuff. And this summer, this was the first summer we were here, and we saw every once in a while boats going over. Well, here, the neighbors are like, yeah, this is the best fishing spot for bass in the entire province, and somehow you bought the land right on it. So that was pretty awesome. And that's the beauty of this business. You can make moves like that, and you can still keep your business running really easily. Do we have, I guess on that note, do we have anyone from Canada here? If so, go ahead and type, what should you type? A into the comment box. Let's take a look here. Anyone from Canada? Oh yeah, looks like we got a couple. Hi, Jack. I'm doing fine. Yeah, New Brunswick. Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, well, there we go. Canada in the house. Actually, you know what? This could actually take a while. If I call out each company, maybe I'll have you just type in what country you're from in the comment box. And if you're not in a region I already mentioned, and yeah, just if from Canada or the US or Europe, I guess, just type in where you are from. Let's take a look here. Okay, Australia, yeah, South Africa. That makes sense. There's actually quite a few people I know in our consulting business. We have quite a few customers from South Africa. Mostly, they really seem to be pretty keen to do e-commerce. What else do we have here? Nigeria? Okay. Well, hello from Nigeria. Um, okay. Well, it looks like we have folks from pretty much everywhere here. So I love that. It just goes to show you the power of e-commerce. Um, let's see. Yeah, we still have some people trickling in and stuff, but you know what? I think we're ready to get going. I'm going to just start sharing my screen with you so we can get this. Let's get this presentation started. I'll just start sharing my screen here with you. First off, I just want to say congratulations, because just the fact that you're watching this right now tells me that you're already eons ahead of other sellers out there. I know it might not feel like it, but the fact that you're willing to block out even a small period of time to learn the things we're going to go over here shows you have the stuff it takes to get to 7 figures. 95% of the other sellers out there, they're just circling in advice in Facebook groups, hoping to find that secret sauce. They never try to get out of that hamster wheel they're in. Do you want to know how e-com sellers are scaling from 7 figures all the way up to 7 or 8 figures? Or have you ever asked yourself, how is it that I'm being passed by other sellers? I put in just as much work and time as them, and I bet I throw just as much money as them into growing. Well, you have to understand, it isn't that you aren't working long enough or hard enough. In fact, those two statements are the exact reason you aren't scaling as fast as you should be. 7 and 8 figure sellers do not work harder or longer than you. There's only so many hours in a day. Let's put it this way. If you find it taxing to run your business at the spot it is in now, then how do you plan on not making that happen when you grow 10 times bigger? Do you think that growing your company will make your business exponentially easier to operate? What makes you think that you won't just grow your issues 10 times? I think you know the answer to these questions already. And while there are a number of reasons why an e-commerce business would never scale past 6 figures, there are 3 that stand out above all others. And in this webinar, you're going to learn my 3 secrets to scale properly without making costly or in many cases disastrous mistakes. I'll show you how to make every $1 inputted into your business return $62. That's right, a $62 return on investment for every dollar you invest. You'll also learn how spending less time in your business actually helps it grow. Spend less time to make more money? You bet. So what makes what I'm going to tell you about scaling different from all the gurus out there? Well, for one thing, I'm not going to tell you the most common form of cop-out in this industry. You've probably heard this statement countless times. These 5 famous words have bankrupted more companies than any others out there. And those words are, you learn from your mistakes. I hate that saying with a passion. Do you make mistakes in business? Sure, but if you don't have to, then why would you? What benefit is there to making mistakes? In reality, there are none. If you know how to do it right and can do it correctly over and over again, then you stop wasting time, money, and your own reputation on disastrous mistakes. The only people this statement helps is the gurus. It gives them an excuse when their system either underperforms or flops altogether. I'm here to stop you from making mistakes. I'm here today to help you scale to over 7 or 8 figures without wasting your precious time and money. This is how the pros do it, and it's how you can scale too. I also want to let you know that if you stay till the end of this webinar, I'll be giving you access to an exclusive business scaling package that you can use to start scaling immediately. It includes 5 business processes in it that you can use to get new profitable product ideas, screen those ideas and choose the best product to sell so you don't end up sinking thousands into products no one wants to buy. One of the processes in the package shows you the exact steps to source your products overseas, and the last 2 will help you write the best product titles, and another one will tell you step by step how to name your PPC campaigns. These processes are set up and designed to allow you to hand them off, all of these tasks, to anyone you feel like. It allows you to trust that the job is going to be done correctly and without mistakes. So let's get into why you should trust me and the 3 secrets that are going to help you scale past 6 figures that I'm about to share with you here. I'm not going to go into this too much since many of you already know me here today, but for those that don't, let's start back over 25 years ago. My first serious business pursuit was as a quality inspection contractor to some of the largest companies in the world. For over 20 years, companies like ConocoPhillips and Husky Energy, they'd hire me to create and enforce their business processes in regards to quality assurance and quality control. And while this sounds like a boring task, it was actually a very serious business. I was also tasked with the investigation of some serious and deadly industry failures. In the end, all of these catastrophes could be tracked back to one thing. Those involved in the failures failed to follow standard operating procedures, or SOPs for short, and we'll be using SOPs throughout this webinar. Actually, that isn't completely true. Lots of folks followed these procedures, but they were not developed correctly, and they lacked a checklist for some critical task involved with the procedure. So let's move on to my Amazon business now. And really, at times, you have to understand, I could spend 3 months straight away from my family in the oil field inspecting and doing these investigations. There came a point where I realized that I'd missed out on much of my children's formative years. And in about 2014, I started looking for ways to get out. And after quite a bit of investigation and stuff, I found the Amazon platform, and really I went all in. For the first year, I spent lots of nights in oil field camps with nothing to do. I would do research and took a lot of courses on the subject. And in 2015, I finally launched my first brand. Now, this brand took off almost immediately, but almost immediately I ran into major issues, whether it was shipping, product selection, listing optimization, or any other number of things. I found that I was out of my depth and I needed outside help. I'd grown our brand in 10 months from nothing to over $2 million in sales, but I had no processes in place to be able to grow. So you can imagine that the first thing I did was I started to develop these processes and procedures. I hired a team of smart people to begin the process of development, and at this time our company has over 500 standard operating procedures. We spent over $100,000 building out these processes, and after countless refinements, our company came out the other side of the tunnel with a world-class eCom business. These procedures allow me to systemize our business, and they're the foundation of our business operations. We are now able to delegate all of the mundane and repetitive tasks to others with a minimum expenditure of time or money. We decided to branch out from eCom selling in early 2015 and started a consulting business using our newly refined processes. To date, we have helped hundreds of Amazon sellers launch and manage successful businesses that stand the test of time. Lastly, in our bid to spread our expertise, I initiated a program to develop software programs from the systems we already had in place. We basically took what we did on spreadsheets and calculators and we put them into a digital format. And to date, we have over 15 software programs dedicated to e-commerce sellers through the Ismazo software company. Later that year, I also wrote a best-selling book on Amazon PPC, and I became known in the industry as the guy who spent $1 million a year on advertising. I was able to do this with a less than 10% advertising cost of sales across all of our campaigns, and we continue this tradition today with our customers. But by far, my biggest claim is that I also run multiple successful e-commerce businesses, just like you. Over the 20 plus years that I spent developing and perfecting business and quality processes, I learned some very important things. The first thing is that successful scaling, it takes many forms, but some of the most important steps our processes solved were to help us stop the leak of wallet-draining mistakes. Mistakes cost money and time, and if you make enough of them, then you could also risk losing reputation in the industry. You can eliminate these mistakes by hiring the right people. This isn't a dynamic process though. Almost every part of hiring can be automated and repeated at scale to get some awesome results. By far, the most important thing I learned was that time does not equal money at 7 figures. In fact, later on this webinar, I'm going to show you how working in your business instead of working on your business is the most harmful thing you can do. You need to systemize your business. And don't kid yourself though, we struggled at first to implement all the things that helped us scale. It taxed our whole team, and I had many sleepless nights spent away from my family up in the oil sands of Alberta. Not only did I have to worry about 10-figure mega projects happening daily, but I also had to constantly be micromanaging our daily e-commerce business operations. And I'll be very honest with you folks, it sucked. And really, it almost ruined my marriage. I chose to do things the hard way. I did silly things that I regret, and I wish I could take back, things like trying to be an expert in every facet of e-commerce. I read hundreds of books on everything from email can spam law to Twitter advertising techniques, and in the end, I wasted hundreds of hours that I could have spent working on my business. I ended up being the proverbial master of nothing. I knew just enough to be dangerous, really. And this leads into my next huge blunder. I thought I knew what I was doing so much that in early 2015, I tried to launch 30 physical products simultaneously all on my own. Not only did this completely fail, but in the end, I had a nervous breakdown. It was a terrible time for me and my family. And after that debacle, I tried to move forward and hire a team to help me regain my sanity. But what I didn't realize was that I didn't have any processes in place at that time to guide my staff. We made mistake after mistake until I had to almost put the entire business on hold and fired all of my staff. In the end, I just increased the amount of time I was working in the business when I should have been working on it. So I want to ask you a simple question. Are you sick of working in your business? Do you want an easy way to break this cycle and start to truly work on your business without spending any more time developing the business processes needed to free up all your time? Don't forget that in the next hour, we'll be diving deep into my 3 secrets to scaling beyond 6 figures. Before we proceed though, I feel it's important to present you with this disclaimer. I'll be providing you with my top 3 secrets to scale past 6 figures without making disastrous mistakes. I'm happy to share our exact processes with you, but be warned, this is not for those looking for an instant one-size-fits-all cure, or for those that are lazy, Our results are not typical for those not willing to enact the secrets we're about to provide you. If you feel that you're not ready to hire staff or to let go of micromanagement of your company, then these techniques are not for you, and honestly, you probably won't get much out of these 3 secrets. But if you aren't afraid of concentrating on the big decisions that need to be made in your business, then what I'm about to share is going to open so many doors for you. Imagine cutting your workload down by 80% by growing your business at a rate you never thought possible. Your life would be much more fulfilling, wouldn't it? You want to be able to live your life free of the mundane, right? Of course, being mundane sucks. So without further ado, let's dive right into my 3 secrets to scale to 7 figures and beyond. Let's start with secret 1 here. In order to scale, I started to work only on my business, and I delegated all of the actual tasks required to run or work in my business to others. There's some fundamental principles involved in making this secret a reality, though. Since 1985, there's been one book that's become something along the lines of scripture for many entrepreneurs. That book is The E-Myth by Michael E. Gerber. And while the book was originally focused on business systemization in the world of brick and mortar companies, subsequent editions have included data that is inclusive of the world of internet commerce. However, many of the ideas and strategies outlined in the original edition are just as relevant to online businesses as the more traditional ones that function with physical facilities. The phrase E-Myth is short for the entrepreneurial myth, which is easily one of the main reasons businesses of any type fail. Basically, this myth holds that if someone is an expert in a particular field, he or she should have no trouble setting up a successful business. After all, they have vision, right? Gerber systemically dissects this myth, and he lays it out for the fallacy it truly is. Within the pages of the E-Myth, there are many lessons to learn that can help a fledgling business owner, or even someone who wants to start a business, to avoid a lot of ideas and situations that ultimately lead to failure. However, there is one core lesson that you should take away from Gerber's work. That one lesson is to not work in your business, but to work on your business. But what does that mean? Is Gerber urging business owners to be detached from the business, allowing others to handle everything as he or she blithely goes in whatever direction they wish to go? No, not at all. The point Gerber is making is that the true entrepreneur sets up a system that is able to allow the business to function efficiently and with the full participation of the business owner. But the business owner is not bogged down in having to take care of so many tasks that there's no room left to grow or work on the business. In a nutshell, if you don't get anything else from Gerber's book, make sure you get this. Firstly, you don't have to do everything in your business to make it successful. Secondly, you don't have to involve yourself in every last bit of minutia related to the daily operation of your business. Third, you must always keep yourself in a position to see the big picture of where your business is going. And fourth, you must allow yourself to steer the ship without worrying if the guys in the hold are feeding the coal into the boiler properly. One of the easiest ways to burn yourself out before your business can even get off the ground is to try to master everything yourself and do it all. No matter how good you are, it simply is not realistic. That is where the development of a logical and workable business system comes into play. So earlier I promised that I would show you why working in your business can be disastrous to its growth. Let's look at the following numbers because in the beginning, just like you, I missed the bigger picture of what sort of harm I was doing to my business. The first step is to define what you think you're worth an hour. Now, many gurus, they'll be out there telling you that they're worth $600 or $700 an hour. Or others will tell you that they're worth thousands of dollars an hour. I want to be realistic here, so I've incorporated an hourly worth of $100 an hour for the company owner. And we'll use PPC management for this example because PPC management is a job that many company owners feel that they need to do for themselves. We estimate that you will need to dedicate about 4 hours a week on each product campaign. And in order to get to mid-7 figures, we estimate that each product should average $5,000 per week in sales. So if we use a middle range of 20% advertising cost of sale, or ACOS is the acronym for that, on each product, we can use the following calculation. A 20% advertising cost of sale on $5,000 is $1,000 plus $400 wage based on your 4-hour average a week equals $1,400. We can see that 28% of your gross is dedicated to this task. So let's see what happens when we hand off PPC management to virtual staff. On average, a decent virtual staff member will cost you about $5 per hour. And if we keep all of the other variables the same, you can see that we have saved on average 8% gross, or $380 per week per product. I can't emphasize that enough. That is per product, $380. Now that we have some numbers factored, let's finally check out the bigger picture in a scaled manner. If we now use some bigger numbers, you can see that you would need to scale to 80 products if they each pulled in $5,000 a week. This amount of products would get you to around $5 million gross per year. The most telling part of this equation shows when we figure out that this would take 80 hours a week to keep track of the advertising side of things. And if you plug in our original $380 savings per product per week, you can see that in the end, just by moving away from these mundane tasks, you have managed to save your company $1.6 million a year, give or take some minor variations here, right? This is the power of the E-myth that Michael Gerber wrote about. The outcome of my relentless drive to remove myself from working in the business ended up with me in less than 10 months being able to remove myself from a huge portion of the operational side of the company. I allowed myself to seek out new opportunities outside of traditional e-commerce and grew both our companies and my own character substantially. This couldn't have been done without our next secret. And with that, we'll move on to secret 2 here. I outsourced everything in order to scale exponentially to over 7 figures. Now, here's a strategy that has catapulted thousands of 6-figure companies into super growth mode by learning how to find an army of top producers to grow your business. No matter how small your company is, you can hire a workforce that can catapult your company growth like you've never seen before. No matter how large you are, you're probably using the wrong criteria for hiring. How do you attract star talent to your organization? How do you learn their weaknesses before you hire them? Most companies have to hire staff to find out all the problems they're going to have. Well, I'm going to show you how to get rid of all the lightweights in just 5 minutes. Multi-billion-dollar companies understand the unique psychological profile of top producers they hire rather than the background or the work history. The type of person I'm talking about is someone you can drop into a bad situation with poor tools, no training, bad resources, and still within a few months they begin to outperform your best staff or build your company in ways you never really dreamed possible. 2 things drive the superstar, and they're both critical and work together perfectly when you can find them: empathy and self-esteem, or strong sense of self. Top producers need to bond with others, to find something likable about every person. And this is a wonderful trait to find in an employee. They just keep going at the customer every which way. They're trying to find more and more ways to serve that customer, to please that customer. Empathy is a key trait, and part of your interview process must be specifically designed to weed out those without empathetic traits. In the case of self-esteem, make no mistake, great sales result from people with super strong self-esteem. Only a person with an extra dose of self-esteem barrels into a customer 8 times after that customer has said no. People with weak self-esteem go away after only a single rejection. People with weak self-esteem, they fear rejection, and so they never actually close a sale or negotiate the best deal with your suppliers. Another aspect of a strong self-esteem is personal ambition. Don't you love it when you hire someone who innovates, expands upon, and improves every single task you assign to them? This self-esteem and need to please can make these people seem overly eager to please in a job interview. Maybe they even come on a little bit too strong, but don't let a little bravado put you off. It is the quintessential ingredient in every superstar. In an interview, the person is the product, so they must present themselves with confidence. They have to assure you that they are the one you're looking for. This aggressive behavior will scare some employers, but it's exactly what you need to scale your business quickly. Let's go over some ground rules for hiring superstars. First of all, age and background are not relevant. I've hired 24-year-olds who've outsold 20-year veterans out there. One of my greatest finds was a salesperson who tried to sell me a sweater in a clothing store, and I snatched her right out of there, and she ended up running 3 divisions of a company I was looking after. I recently found also a 70-year-old man from India who has the best skills I've ever seen for getting top executives on the telephone. And he had been a line producer for feature films in Bollywood. So disregard age or background. Second, you must design your ad to attract this rare animal. My ads begin like this: superstars only. Don't even call unless you're an overachiever and can prove it. The ad doesn't request a resume. The first thing we do is we screen calls on Skype. And here's a great way to test the top producer. You line up your candidates for a simple 10-minute conversation, and then you tell them, we talk to candidates for 10 minutes to determine if we want to interview them. When screening Skype calls, I always apologize for getting straight to the point and explaining that I'm overwhelmed, with responses. And then I say, tell me why you think you're a superstar. I then deliberately act unimpressed and slightly a little bit, abrasive to these people. And if I intimidate them over Skype, I brush them off quickly. A top producer won't be intimidated. If they can't talk their way into an interview, what makes you think they'll ever talk their way into a customer? You need to save yourself a lot of trouble and get rid of those with weak self-esteem right off the bat. Too often you interview candidates as the nice person you are, and it gives them a chance to be nice as well. Then you hire them and you find out 6 months later that they can't keep up with the frenetic company growth, and they shy away from the really big projects out of fear. With the technique I just talked about, you'll find out early how well they handle rejection. It saves everyone a lot of time, and honestly, it saves you a lot of money. Alright, so let's go over how much outsourcing your tasks really costs. We've already asserted that in order to grow to the mid 7 figures, you'll want to grow to around 80 products. This number can be more or less based on your particular business, but I'm going to use 80 products in this case. So as a solopreneur with 10 products, you spend 40 hours a week optimizing and running your business. But here comes the biggest issue with being a solopreneur, and the reason that 0% of 7-figure businesses run without outsourcing. There are only 168 hours in a week. If you had to grow to our 80 product goal, you would need to work 320 hours in a week. Now let's imagine what happens when you scale. What if you wanted to scale to 8 figures? With the above factors, you can see that for a $5 million gross e-commerce business, the minimum staff you would need is 8. The main point of Secret 2 is that you must hire effectively in order to show exponential growth. I said before that I'd show you why shifting your expertise to working on your business is essential to your company's success. All of the previous equations I showed you can now be boiled down into this simple set of factors. If you have 8 staff, you can expect to spend $6,400 a month in salary. If we are expecting to scale to $5 million a year gross, then you would be bringing in $400,000 a month. by doing some simple division here, we can see that without you working in your business, each $1 that you put into outsourcing will see you a return on investment of $62.50. Of course, you can tweak the numbers here, but the overall picture remains the same, and this is how I made that claim of $62.50 return on investment previously. The main point many owners have is figuring out what positions they need to fill in order to run lean. And in this slide, you can see our own e-commerce organizational chart. Now, this chart goes into detail of our base operations, and it can be scaled as much as we require as our company grows. The key to this structure is that we have managers in charge of strategic groupings. It should be noted that if your staff pool is smaller, then you're definitely able to combine these positions as you need. Some of the more common positions that eCom business owners typically are looking to fill are things like accounting. Simply put, you have to create some sort of process for keeping track of what comes in and what goes out. Not only do you want to make sure that the business is working its way towards profitability, you also have to deal with making sure that there's records to back up your tax filings. That you have indeed paid your vendors, and that your customers are paying you within terms. In addition, someone has to make sure you and any other employees you have get paid on time. They have the right amount of taxes deducted from their gross pay if they're employees, and all of those other little things that keep the finances in order. Another position is for product development, and the bottom line here is that unless you have something to sell, no one is going to buy it, and your company ceases to really have a reason to exist. Product development, it's not just about coming up with a better widget. It's also about making sure that better widget is likely to offer something that people want. Extra bells and whistles are of no value if nobody wants to play with them. Another position is marketing, and no matter how good your products are, unless people know they're around, there's no chance of ever getting your e-commerce business off the ground. Marketing involves creating strategies, learning how to reach niche markets among consumers, how to position your product to its best advantage, or writing effective marketing copy for use on Amazon or on your website. Another big part of your company needs to be sales. And while many people lump sales and marketing together, they have to be treated as different functions in order to truly be a systemized business. Think of marketing as a way of getting the general word out and creating the basic tools that sales will use to go after and win specific customers. So you have to see there is a difference between those two. The next task you have to delegate is administration. Somebody has to mind the proverbial store and make sure the day-to-day tasks are being accomplished properly. Now, depending on the size of your venture, this may involve one central manager or supervisor, or several managers who oversee one or more departments or sections of the business. Now, keep in mind those managers they're going to be your pipeline to what is happening in every area of your business. So you need to hire those people with a little bit more panache and like we said, self-esteem. So next is your technology support, and it's nearly impossible to operate any type of online business these days without some sort of resource that can help keep your website functioning, or your servers running, or your workstations from losing important data, backing up your programs and stuff like that. So that's an important part of any online business, really. Next is human resources, and we were talking about that previously, but it doesn't matter if it's only you and one other person involved in your business venture at this point in time. The bottom line is that someone has to make sure you're functioning within any guidelines or regulations that may apply to the type of business you're operating. Managing human resource policies and procedures can get very involved. So this particular function
must be managed by someone with an eye for detail and the ability to assimilate a lot of data. Next, let's look at purchasing. Basically, no matter how lean your Amazon or e-commerce business runs, you'll have to buy items for your business from time to time. Now, it may be nothing more than general office supplies, a software program now and then, or promotional materials that sales and marketing can use as giveaways at conventions or other venues. In any event, someone has to establish relationships with your vendors and maintain a rapport and make sure your company is getting the best price on any goods or services purchased. At the same time, whoever handles the purchasing has to make sure you don't run out of something important and slow down the processes of filling orders or meeting any expectations of your established customers. So now lastly, let's go into customer support and service. Someone has to keep the customers happy. Customer support functions include responding to questions regarding services, dealing with client concerns, and in general making sure each customer will come back again and again, as well as recommend your products to their friends, relatives, and acquaintances, right? Like that. A large part of customer service is making them feel like they want to tell everyone else, tell the world. Now, working on your business and outsourcing your projects depends entirely on secret number 3. Unfortunately, this part is by far the easiest to screw up. My third secret is that I have proven standard operating procedures in place. These procedures are what I give to my managers, and they then delegate them to our staff. Without them being in place, I wouldn't be able to scale at all. Once again, there are only so many hours in a day. I want to first go over what systemization is. True systemization is more or less opposite of what most people think it is. In reality, a truly systemized organization has a solid functioning procedure that knows what must be done, has a way to do it, and gets the job done. When a business is truly systemized, there is time to devote to other pastimes. In the case of an e-commerce business, making good use of that creativity that is so common in true entrepreneurs. With a properly systemized company, the procedures make sense and always have a purpose. There's no room for empty actions that stir up a lot of dust but accomplish nothing. Within this framework, everyone knows what to do and when to do it. There's no endless meetings to contend with, no complicated policies to observe, and no time wasted spinning your wheels, right? And that's not to say that every process within a properly systemized company is fun. I mean, few people find the task of calculating and paying taxes to be fun, for example, right? Still, the tasks, if they're organized properly, they can be completed in a reasonable amount of time and leave the rest of the day to move on to something that it's more interesting, right? Such as like getting new customers or working on a new product or writing new sales copy, whatever you find most interesting. The processes allow you to get done the menial and mundane things much quicker, right? So the bottom line is that true systemization frees you, while a lack of properly systemized organization creates nothing but endless work, and it stifles you and your business until you're really ready to give up. So now that you understand that systemization is a good thing, let's explore exactly how this approach to your e-commerce business is good. There's actually quite a number of benefits that come with creating an organized and systematic environment for your business. And here's some examples here. So the first example is you can measure your progress. Sure, money coming in is one measure, but what if you could also figure out how to measure how well things are running with that next big ad campaign or the development of a new ancillary product that'll enhance your main product? If your business is organized, it is possible to do a quick check on these and other ongoing processes anytime you like and get real-time data on what's going on. Another benefit here is that the little things get done on time. So without some basic plans for each day, the little things that keep operations going can build up, and eventually they create a bottleneck. For example, if the posting on accounts receivable and payables are not being done on a regular schedule, you can find yourself with a lot of work to do when it comes time to cut paychecks to employees or calculate your taxes for the current period. An organized system helps to ensure you don't run into situations where your back is to the wall and you have to drop other tasks in order to play catch up. That sucks. Especially with taxes. I always seem to find myself surprised by the end of the year, but I've learned to be able to assign these tasks so that it's all up to date, and at the end of the year, it's just so easy. It's like a breeze. Not that taxes are ever a breeze, but it feels more like a breeze, I guess I should say. Another benefit is that there's automatically time built in to work on your business networking. So if your business is systemic in its operations and functions, this means you can spend time in networking activities that will help your business grow. You're going to be able to devote an afternoon to, let's say, submitting online ads or sending promotional emails or even promoting your business locally at Chamber of Commerce events. Best of all, you can spend your time on these endeavors knowing that your company is moving right along without your direct attention for a few days, right? There's not a better feeling in the world than that. The last benefit here that I'm going to go over is that you can take time off. After all, wasn't getting control of your time one of the reasons you wanted to set up an e-commerce business? If your business is systematically organized, you can take time off for your son's Little League game or your daughter's dance recital. There's also a chance that you can take off several days in order to take a short vacation if you like. But best of all, you can do this without getting any permission or approval from anyone else. And rest assured, your business will continue to move forward in your absence. In general, there's 3 reasons why most people shouldn't develop their own processes. The first reason is that you're going to use these processes as the cornerstone of your business. In order to make sure you get the best work from the start, it's required that you initially hire a specialist to develop these processes. And while you may personally have the knowledge to develop them, you have to ask yourself if it's worth your time and if someone who specializes in the job might not have a better grasp of the concepts you want systemized. This leads directly into the second reason you're not going to want to develop your own systems, and that reason is time. Depending on the process, it can take from 4 to 30 hours to properly develop each one. At this time, we have about 500 processes and checklists that are used. And if I say each one takes, on average, 10 hours to develop, then it would have taken me 417 12-hour days with no days off to get this done. Now, I'm not saying that I don't prove each of these processes, right? But I trust my management to make sure they're running smoothly, and I leave it up to them to revise them to best suit what's going on in the day-to-day operation of the business. Now, this last reason is the least obvious to sellers, but it's by far the most important. In most cases, a process is not perfect, and the first time they're developed, they'll need revisions. In order to scale fast, you must eliminate as many mistakes as possible. Some process testing and revisions could be very costly indeed, right? In our opinion, the most costly mistakes happen with inventory. One issue could cost a company tens of thousands of dollars. It's imperative that you have expert help in developing these SOPs in particular. Now, at the beginning of this webinar, I promised to show you why the term "you learn from your mistakes" should never be said by a business owner. Costly mistakes can be stopped by simple systemization. Leave learning from your mistakes to the gurus selling hacks to first-time sellers. You are not that seller, and I'm pretty sure I've shown you how to move away from that mindset. So now, during the past hour, we've covered a lot of advanced information, and I hope you would agree that it was time well spent. Though I tried to cover as much as possible, I wanted to give you the most valuable aspects of my 3 secrets. One reason most business owners don't succeed is due to habits. It's easy to believe that everything is working correctly at this time and wonder why you'd want to change the situation right now. It's essential to your business growth to throw out those mental habits and start to form new and progressive habits. I actually just talked about this on the Smart Business Revolution podcast with John Kokorin. And did you know that a habit takes 66 days to break and to form a new habit in its place? Connecting purpose, priority, productivity determines how high above the rest successful individuals and profitable businesses can rise. So now you know how eCom sellers are scaling from 6 figures to 7 or 8 figures. You know the theory of why you're being passed by other sellers. It isn't that you aren't working long enough or hard enough. 7 and 8 figure sellers do not work harder or longer than you. They have learned to step away from the business by hiring the correct talent and systemizing their business operations. This is where a ready-made eCom business management system comes into its own. The package has already gone through the testing and revision process. This means that they have been pre-proven and can be trusted to accomplish the task you want to pass to your staff. This will save you tens of thousands of dollars by eliminating the mistakes that come along with developing standard operating procedures on your own. I can't understate the impact these mistakes and issues can have on your business. On top of solid, proven operating procedures, a ready-made eCom business process management system saves you hundreds or thousands of hours of work. This alone shows you the value this type of system adds to your business's bottom line. By far the largest advantage a ready-made eCom process business management system has is that you don't have to hire the industry experts to develop them for you. These experts cost more than the average virtual worker. Why go through the hassle of hiring and directing these types of experts when it's already been done for you? It is the standalone best way to scale fast. So let me ask you a question now. Have I shown you how standard operating procedures, checklists, and ready-made spreadsheets can be a huge benefit to your e-commerce company? I know that you saw how a system like this can open your business to unlimited growth and ability to break through the 7 or 8 figure glass ceiling. It allows you to do this without actually spending any more time on the mundane and menial tasks associated with running a business like this. You may ask yourself how hard this type of program is to integrate into your business, but it really isn't difficult at all. After a personalized onboarding meeting, you'll be a business process expert yourself and be able to immediately start implementing the processes. Your business is being held back right now. Is it because you as an owner refuse to see the big picture? Or is it that you as an owner don't have enough time to devote to your business fundamental structure, right? There is potential in your business, my friend. It's there. You just need to free up the time to be able to unlock that potential. Luckily, we have a standard operating procedures package set up that will allow you to take that potential and start scaling instantly. You don't have to worry about the processes and whether they're flawed or will require costly revisions because we've already vetted and tested our processes over the past 3 years of our company's aggressive growth. During eCom Process's first month of beta, we had over 20 7-figure eCom sellers sign up, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive. We didn't even need to advertise this package, and that's the honest truth. We had one 7-figure seller, they saw that we had this in beta, and all of a sudden we couldn't stop the flood. These large sellers, they crave this sort of system, and it shows just how important it is to scaling fast. So are you ready to dive into how our eCom process procedure package can help your business? I bet you can. So now all you need are the processes and support to make scaling without burning yourself out a reality. And over the past 3 years, our companies have been secretly developing standard operating procedures and systems designed to make the whole process of exponential growth for your company a reality. I've put together a comprehensive package for you that includes everything you need to get started instantly. First, we've designed over 150 SOPs, or standard operating procedures, and placed them into both a Word and a PDF format. This set of hard copy processes are valued at almost $4,000 on their own, and they include all the accompanying things, like spreadsheets and checklists, videos, and instructions needed to start growing today. Next, we've optimized and entered all of these processes into Trello. Now, Trello is a collaboration tool that organizes your projects into boards. In one glance, Trello tells you what's being worked on, who's working on what, and where something is in a process. Imagine a whiteboard filled with lists of sticky notes, and each note is a task for you and your team. Now imagine that each of those sticky notes has photos, attachments from other data sources like Dropbox or Salesforce, documents, and a place to comment and collaborate with your teammates. Now imagine that you can take that whiteboard anywhere you go on your smartphone, and you can access it from any computer through the web. Trello is loved by those obsessed with managing their time and projects, and it's easy to see why. Not only is Trello cheap and affordable, but also extremely simple to use. Using a highly visual approach to time and project management, you can move cards around so you can see at a glance what needs to be done and when. All of our processes have been transferred to this platform and can be easily used right out of the gate. And we've put a conservative value on this of $3,997. So you get over 150 of our processes in the Word format, a PDF format, as well as the extremely easy to use free Trello format. To add to this, you're also going to receive updates and revisions for a year. We have hundreds of processes that we've not placed in this particular package, but in an exciting offer, we'll be adding to our overall SOP list every month. So over the next year, you'll receive well over 100 more processes in the formats we talked about before. And these updates and revisions alone are worth $3,000, and it allows you to concentrate on your business without having to constantly revise your processes to meet the monthly changes on all of the different platforms you're part of. We're also offering you a full suite of software programs dedicated to top-level selling on Amazon. Through our Ismazel software company, we'll be offering you and your staff complimentary high-level subscriptions to all 15 of our advanced software solutions. So that's a lot of value. You're getting access to all 15 of our software solutions, hundreds of updates and process revisions for a year, our Trello optimized processes, and most importantly, you're getting over 150 of our standard operating procedures. These are over 150 trusted processes that we have personally vetted and proven. And if you take a look at these numbers, the total value for everything in this package that we're offering you is about $13,000. Now, our processes have worked for all ranges of entrepreneurs. It works for six-figure Amazon sellers, seven-figure Amazon sellers, large e-commerce sellers, and it's also helped anyone wanting to put their business on autopilot while still growing. That includes big sellers or small sellers. When I built this package for you folks, I had two options. Now, the first option was to just give you the bare bones package without any of the extra incentives we just talked about. The second option was to build out a process system that was all-encompassing, and it included all the support you and your company needs to be successful. I've not only used these processes in our own businesses, but I've also used them for many of our clients. And here's just a few things that they've said about us at our consulting and eCom account management firm. I honestly wish I had room to show you all of the testimonials and recommendations we've received over the years, but there just isn't enough time or space. Just know that our processes have helped many companies and have been proven in real life situations. And that's over multiple e-commerce platforms. For those of you worrying that you may not be able to understand how to use our processes right away, we're offering you all a huge bonus. Right now, we're onboarding all new members over Skype. You'll be talking to a business systems expert who will make sure all of your eCom process systems are set up and ready to go right out of the box. You'll be able to ask questions and get the answers you need. This exclusive and personalized meeting, it has about $1,000 value, and we're happy to be able to add it to this package. We want you to succeed, and this initial step is a great way to get that done. On top of that, we're also offering another huge bonus to the first 20 people who sign up for this special package. For those 20 people, we'll be releasing a course, audiobook, or an ebook each month. For example, this last month's course was a custom 20-part video training series on how to hire outside of Upwork or onlinejobs.ph by using social media to your advantage. The next month would be an exclusive audiobook produced by myself that goes over much of what we talked about in this webinar, plus tons that we didn't have time to get to. These are just two of the many awesome extras we have lined up for you and your business. The value of this bonus is well over $4,000, and those that act quickly can get access to this today. So that's over 150 SOPs placed into both Word and PDF format, which is valued at about $4,000. All of those processes will be in the Trello format as well. To add to this, you're going to receive updates and revisions for a year, which alone is worth $3,000. You'll be getting all 15 of our advanced software solutions. On top of all that, we're also throwing in bonus number 1, which is the high-level onboarding meeting, and bonus number 2, which is the monthly courses, audiobooks, and ebooks worth $5,000. So that's a lot of value. You're getting access to all 15 of our software solutions, hundreds of updates and process revisions for a year, the 2 bonuses, our Trello optimized processes, and most importantly, you're getting over 150 of our proven and trusted standard operating procedures. The total value for everything in this package as it stands is about $18,000. What if our processes allowed you to finally start to scale your business without making costly and time-consuming mistakes? What if we could give you the kick in the butt you need to finally start working on your business instead of in your business? What if all our business system did was give you a way to exponentially grow your e-commerce company almost instantaneously? What would being able to scale seamlessly to 7 or 8 figures be worth to you? You know it'll take professional business procedures. So my next question to you is this. What would a complete standard operation procedure package be worth? $8,000? $14,000? Or even $18,000? What if you could scale to 7 figures painlessly and without ever having to make a mistake while hiring brand new low-wage employees from halfway around the planet? What would it be worth to your company if you could start doing this today? Do you understand what I'm talking about here? Multi-million-dollar e-commerce sellers know the immense value of this. That is why most of our clients typically pay us a $10,000 starting fee and then 25% of profits made to manage their businesses for them. They know our processes increase profits without them being hands-on. It allows them to do the important things in their business. Avoiding even one mistake can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Aggressive scaling is hard. Wouldn't it make sense to pay me just $8,000 to take all of those mistakes away and also free up 80% of your time? With all of the value we've shown you, you can see why a one-time $8,000 payment is really a great deal. But we aren't going to sell you our package for what it's actually worth. Heck, we aren't even going to offer it to you for the publicly advertised price of $4,500. In appreciation of you taking the time to listen to this webinar today, I'm going to give you our very special limited time price of $2,999, but only if you purchase this huge SOP package in the next 30 minutes. On top of that, those that act fast and are the first 10 to sign up will also grab bonus 3. Now, this bonus is a monthly consultation meeting to discuss anything in your business that you want. In the end, it'll all come down to designing, implementing, and following through on a process. But this will be your chance to ask the hard questions and get professional advice on how to overcome any issue you're having. I conservatively value this bonus at $4,000, but like I said, this is only for the first 10 listeners who sign up today. That's right, all of this for just $2,999. Let's quickly look at all of the standard operating procedures you'll receive.
We generally split the procedures and checklists into broad groups. As an example, you can see here as I scroll down that we start with our Amazon specific procedures. And since the Amazon platform is where 90% of physical product business sales typically come from, we try to concentrate our process updates on that platform. You can see we have processes for almost everything here to do with Amazon, from an Amazon review recovery email checklist, where we show you how to best recover lost customer reviews when Amazon decides to randomly remove them, to processes like typical Amazon tasks checklist that allows you to give any VA this list, and it goes over what you want done in a step-by-step fashion. Now, most of these processes come with an accompanying video so that your staff can learn in the way they feel best. Some staff learns best using text, others like images, and some like to learn by using video. And we try to give your staff every advantage possible to do the tasks required without mistakes. Now, we don't only have Amazon procedures, but there is a lot of business functions that can be used across all online platforms. So as I scroll down, you can see we also have a product management group of processes dedicated to finding, producing, inspecting, and promoting a product. And this is just a few of the tasks you can accomplish under this grouping. The next grouping we have is the business management checklists, and these cover pretty much anything that deals with running your business on a larger scale. There's checklists for monthly expenses all the way up to developing a business growth plan. There's also processes on buying an existing business or how to negotiate a better deal. There's lots in here for you to take advantage of. Let's see, next is the task management along with some other processes. And these are really going to help your management team to run their departments effectively. And they'll include checklists like task evaluation and task reporting processes. Some of the other checklists include contract management and warehouse management plans. When we move on to overall company management, which is going to help you as owners to set up your company and include all of the value added things that staff expect, things like developing a company mission statement or managing your supply chain. Those can be found here. And then lastly, we have employee management grouping, which in my opinion is the foundation your company requires to scale fast. We basically have processes here to cover every part of your human resources department, from determining when to hire, developing effective job descriptions, posting the job, and interviewing candidates. Your hiring efforts can be 100% outsourced.
And then once you decide to hire, we have processes that help you onboard the staff member and get them working as fast and with as few mistakes as possible. You know, we want these people to come into the company running, you know, and making being as free of mistakes as possible. All right, so maybe next let's move to a typical procedure, and we could go over some of what you can expect. I'm going to use our, hold on a second, this is our AACLIC-01, which is our Amazon listing image checklist as an example. And what you're looking right now is the hard copy PDF version of the checklist. And we call it the hard copy because these formats allow you to print off the checklist if you want. To start, you can see there's a quick overview of the process and then the general categories your VA will need to follow. It says this Amazon listing image checklist is designed as a simple to-do list to effectively engage with a graphic designer or photographer and get the best images for your listings, products, and branding. And then below it shows the different categories like important companies and contacts, how to add an image, and then important image standards. So these general categories will change with each checklist based on what is required, but each one will be essential for the checklist functionality. And you can see here under the important contacts and links header that we have a recommended imaging company recommendation along with a substantial coupon for services. And after that we have links to the official Amazon imaging guidelines. Now these guidelines are super important, so we want to make sure your VA has access to these at all times. We don't include all of the guidelines in the actual checklist though, because it would just clutter it up and make it more difficult to use. After that, you can see that we have included a professionally produced instructional video that'll help those not completely familiar with Amazon images to quickly become experts. Let's click on that and watch a bit so that you can see what sort of information is in there. All we do is we click on the link and it should start playing.
Having excellent images on your listing is crucial to getting a good volume of sales. In this video, we will quickly touch on what Amazon expects how images should be formatted. As you can see in this example of the yoga block image, the image is on a white background without any unnecessary props. Ensure that your main image is also on a white background. If needed, you can have a prop to demonstrate how a product needs to be used. For example, it makes sense for a dog collar to be on a dog. So in that case, it would be acceptable for a dog collar to be shown on the image. For your main picture, despite the requirement of it being on a pure white background, try to have as much minimal white space as possible. Or, to put it another way, have your product displayed as large as possible. All other images, the ones that are not your main image, do not have to be in a white background. So on this example here, you can see there are other images to the left, and these are not the main images, and they do not have to be on a white background. For these other pictures that are not your main image, you can have shots of different angles shown mixed with separate shots of in-use images. That's images showing how their product is being used. Consult a professional photographer to get ideas on how best pictures can be taken for your product. If you want the image to be zoomable, such as this product is here, so that the potential buyer can see your product in more detail, then ensure that all of your images have one side that's at least 1000 by 1000 pixels long. On a listing, up to 7 images are displayed with the main image shown first, and those 7 would be displayed here. In this listing we've only got 4 displayed. However, if you click on an image, then up to 9 images will be displayed. Again, only 4 images are shown here. Once you have your images created, you can then upload them using the web interface to create a listing. Or you can do the same using a flat file. If you upload via a flat file, please note that you need to have your image uploaded on a separate server that can be accessed by Amazon. Example places you could upload could include your own website, or Flickr, or Amazon's S3. Choose any service that allows you to upload to the internet and anyone can see via a URL. It is this URL that will need to be inputted into a flat file.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you can see how easy it is to follow along to, and like I said before, we try to incorporate as many different learning tools as we can into the process. So next, you're going to see that we give step-by-step instructions on how to upload images into your listing. Things like on the inventory drop box or drop-down menu, select Manage Inventory, then click Edit. So it's really broken down into its base elements. Now, as a bit of a disclaimer, this particular process actually has parts that you can break down into tidy little instructions, but larger scope things cannot. As an example, if we look at a checklist for buying an existing business, let's see if I've got one here. Right, so buying an existing checklist. The steps you can. Sorry, I'm looking a little bit more here. The steps, they're a little bit broader, and this is because there's just too many options to break it all down. What we give you in this case is the broad steps required to get the job done, without worrying about missing any important parts of the steps. So, you know, the business acquisition process, how do you do it? And you got to build the team, and then all of these other things, right? But let's get back to the Amazon listing image checklist. Okay, so if I scroll down, you can see that we include the most important imaging standards in a checklist format. You're going to want your VA to make sure to regard and confirm they adhere to every one of these requirements. In this case, we break these requirements down into general image requirements, then it goes and narrows down further into your main image requirements, and then lastly it goes over category specific requirements, and we point out really specific requirements, like in where do we have here, in certain categories you're not allowed to have models that are sitting, kneeling, or leaning or lying down. And basically they're saying they want the model to always be standing. And it's little mistakes like this that could potentially cost your business thousands of dollars, right? So you can see that each of our processes are well laid out and easy to follow. I'm going to now move over to our Trello board to show you what our processes look like over there. And we'll first look at the main standard operating procedures board.
In this board, you can see the hundreds of procedures you'll be receiving. These range from very in-depth procedures like a business acquisition checklist, which covers the many steps required to purchase another company or brand, all the way down to an easy task by using our Create an SKU checklist. You know, in this case, something as simple as creating this identifying number still needs to be broken down into its simplest parts in order for your VA to be able to accomplish the task 100% correctly and consistently across all of your products. Heck, this one procedure alone can save you days of work, and it's transferable to any contractor you want. There's no need to keep retraining people to do the same task. Just assign them the procedure in Trello and let them get to it. So you can see that there is pretty much a procedure for any task you can think of here. To start, your master board will look like this. As we roll out or update more and more procedures, you'll receive an updated board. And this is the base of your operation, and you should really only allow access to people that you trust. You can also see that we provide you with all of the procedures in a digital PDF and Word format for you to print off or change to suit your company. As an example, I'm going to quickly go over how we would use this master board to set up a task board dedicated to uploading and optimizing an Amazon product listing. So you can see just how quickly it can be done here. You can see in this task board that we have all of the different parts to make a fully optimized listing a reality. From the master list at the top to writing optimized bullets and ordering professional photos, it's all covered here. Now we want to decide who we're going to bring in to make this optimized listing a reality. In essence, we could have handed this off to just our VA to do, and that would work fine, but our company it's very large, and it employs professional copywriters and Amazon optimization experts who specialize in different parts of the process. We also have an overall manager who oversees all of our ongoing tasks. So in this case, we would have 4 separate contractors, not including outside photographers and things like that, which need to they're part of the checklist, but they're not part of the actual process. But these other 4, we need to have them collaborate together. Now, I want to quickly stress here, though, if you're just starting out, then you can just have your virtual assistant do this. As you scale faster and faster using our system, then you can see how we've already built in the system to scale right along with you. You know, it's a bigger system, and as you grow, it's already there to be able to back you up in all of this, all the tasks that you need. You can see that I've already brought in our operations manager, and she would then bring in all the other workers needed to finish this task. In this case, she brought in a VA, a virtual assistant, a copywriting expert, and an Amazon optimization expert. She's gone in and assigned all of the tasks to the different experts, and has also assigned time limits for each task to be finalized. Once this is done, she can move the cards over to the delegated list. And then at this point, the different experts will decide which task they want to start on, and then they move their card over to the in-process list. And this lets our manager know who started what task. The worker will then they open up the checklist and they just get to work. Once each part of the checklist is done, they simply click on the checklist. And this gives an indicator to our manager as to how far along the process is in a visual format. If there is any delay, let's say the photographer is a day late, then you would move that card to the delay list for the manager to look at. And in that card, the worker would note the reason for the delay. Once all of the cards are in the finalized position, then you know with a high certainty that the job was done correctly and the finished product is consistent with your company's practices. So, how much time do you think you had to spend doing any of these mundane and menial tasks? That's right, you spent 1 minute total doing a quick scan of the board and then putting your stamp of approval on it. Now, if you ever need to do this process again, you just simply copy the board over to a new one, rename it accordingly, and blam, you're done in 5 seconds and ready for the next task.
Now, you only have two choices here. You can either do nothing and take the 100% risk-free route, or you can commit to this small business investment today and begin to scale efficiently and fast. Right now, I want to address some of the questions you must have regarding this system. One of the first things I'm sure you're asking is if the processes actually work right out of the box. Our guarantee to you is that even if they don't, then we'll adjust and personalize the process for you. And if you feel your company is not growing fast enough, then I will personally jump on a call with you to walk you through any issues you're having. We back this all up with a 30-day limited guarantee. So if you sign up today and if you feel that any of our standard operating procedures don't work for your business, then we will either fix it immediately or give you your money back for the procedure. We are 100% confident in our process's ability to be handed off to any of your staff members, and we back it up. The truth is, even one mistake in your business can cost you thousands. And if you keep making these mistakes, you'll never be able to scale past 6 figures. Even if my kick-ass SOPs only do half of what I've claimed today on this webinar, wouldn't it be worth it? The steps to sign up are easy. Let me move over to the web page here. So all you need to do is go to ecomprocess.com/grow and click into there first. Once you're in there, you can look at all the information there. But most importantly, since this is going to be a time-sensitive offer, you're going to want to scroll all the way down to the bottom and click the Order Now button. You'll be redirected to the PayPal login. Now, we accept everything PayPal does, so credit card, debit card, or existing PayPal funds are going to work. Now, here you just enter in your login info and click Login. You'll immediately be sent an email to your email address or the email address that your PayPal account uses. And in this email, you'll see a few links and some instructions. The key here is to book your onboarding meeting. This meeting is where you'll receive your procedures and be able to chat with an expert on how best to implement the system. We walk you right through it, and you'll have joined a group of the most successful e-commerce sellers in the world. Over 80% of our members at this time are already 7-figure sellers. So remember, you're going to gain access to over 150 standard operating procedures placed in the Word, the PDF, and the Trello format at a value of almost $8,000. You receive updates and revisions for a year, which alone are worth $3,000. Then there's the 15 of our advanced software solutions developed in-house by our developers, which is worth $2,000. On top of all that, we're also throwing in bonus number 1, which is the high-level onboarding meeting, bonus number 2, which is the monthly courses, audiobooks, and ebooks worth $5,000, And for the first 10 people to sign up in the next 30 minutes, I'm offering you our third bonus, which is a monthly consultation meeting with me to discuss anything in your business that you want. I conservatively value this bonus at $4,000. But like I said, this last bonus is only for the first 10 listeners who sign up today. I mean, this is huge value. You're getting access to all 15 of our software solutions, hundreds of updates and process revisions for a year. All 3 bonuses are Trello optimized processes, and most importantly, you're getting over 150 of our standard operating procedures. Now, if you added up the total value for everything in this new package, it would work out to almost $22,000. One last way to look at it is like this. You can either be reactive Ray, who finds himself constantly putting out fires as they happen and having to react every day to some unseen issue, or you can up your game and become proactive Paul, who already has the steps in place to address any rising issues before they become a blazing fiasco. You know your company needs a proactive Paul, right? Of course it does. Okay, well, that's the end of the training part of the webinar. As promised, I'll be sending you your exclusive business scaling package by email after this webinar has ended. Don't forget, though, to go to the link on this page in order to pick up your eCom process package. Once again, it's ecomprocess.com/grow. Right now, like from this time, you only have 30 minutes to jump in and pick up this great deal. Also, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to hang around and I'll answer any questions you may have about what we talked about today. Don't forget that you only have these 30 minutes though, and after that, I'm going to be locking that page out. The package will still be available, but at the higher regular price, and you can find it located on our homepage for the higher price after these 30 minutes.
Okay, so let's dig into any questions you have. You can feel free to type them into the Ask a Question box down below. Just scroll down, and I'll try to get to as many of these as possible in the time we've allotted here. I also have Christina here, and she's going to help me with answering questions as well. She's going to operate my account and try to answer questions by typing them in, and I hope this we'll be able to get to all of them that way. Yeah, if you want to just start typing in your questions, and we'll see if we can't get to them. All right, so it looks like our first question is from Nicole, and she's asking, she's asking if this is a good course for training VAs on how to work on Amazon. So that's sort of a tricky question. You know, I just kind of want to point out, first of all, that what we're offering here, it's not a course. Like, we're not here to do any training and stuff like that. You know, there's no secret sauce that we're giving anyone here. It's all the processes are basically the exact steps for your VAs to do the tasks that you want to give to them. You know, we're trying to save you time by being able to just give them the task and be able to do it. But you know, like I said, there really isn't any secret sauce involved in this. Now, on that same note, we do have lots of videos associated with the processes, especially at this point in time, the Amazon processes. I think we have 105 different videos that your VA can go in and take a look at and be able to process and figure out a little bit better on how to use the processes. But you know, like I was saying before, I do not want you to think that this is a top secret course that you can take and find out all of the
intricacies and the magic of Amazon or your eCom business, or, you know, depending, it really doesn't matter what internet business you're in. We kind of have processes for everything, but since you asked about Amazon, I just want to say, you know, your VAs will be able to do the jobs that you give to them, and I just, you know, I can't stress enough, this isn't a course, you know, and really it isn't a system either. It's just it's processes to do jobs, right? So I hope that was a good enough answer for you. All right, so Dan wants to know if these SOPs are good for Amazon. Okay, well, honestly, these are, you know, they're good for really any e-commerce business. We have a whole bunch of different, well, you saw in the example, we have a whole bunch of different broad lists that we sort all of our processes under. And you know, honestly, I think it's good for any e-commerce business. Fundamentally, we've made a lot of our work towards Amazon sellers, because, you know, Amazon is just such a behemoth out there. It's difficult to sell on the internet, physical goods anyways, without bringing up Amazon. And you know, if you take a look at the ratios and the stats of alternative things or alternative platforms that people are selling on, you really don't see, other than, well, say WooCommerce or Shopify, things like eBay or Jet or Walmart. They're not that big, right? And while we want to be able to give a process for every single thing on the internet, we have to really specify where we want to show and where we really want to align what we're doing to be able to get you the best profit and the best scaling, really, that you can, because people scale on Amazon way faster than anywhere else on there. And there's a point to be made here between broad processes and pinpoint processes. So things like I showed you, making up an SKU number. Everyone has to do it. You have to have an SKU number to be able to upload to pretty much any platform on the internet. And there's ways to do that on a step-by-step basis. But then you go over to what I was talking about, buying a business. Well, how do you take that sort of process and do it in a, you know, click enter, go to this drop down, type in these words, get your email address, use this? You can't do that. So processes and checklists like that, they're more pointed towards being able to not miss any of the broader steps, you know. So we have a lot of pinpoint processes, especially for Amazon. And then once you start moving into just say the internet e-commerce in general, we start to get a little bit broader, you know, more towards things that owners would do, and they just need the big picture, but they don't want to miss anything. So those are where those sorts of processes come in, and we really try to make these processes so that anyone who sells physical products online is going to get a lot of benefit from, immense benefit. But yes, we do fundamentally sort of direct ourselves towards Amazon sellers. So I hope that's a good enough answer for you there, Dan. Okay, so John wants to know if he can alter the processes to fit his business. And the answer there is yes, absolutely. So there's a couple ways to do that. The Dropbox processes are, we call them the hard copies, and in there we give you the .doc or Word format, and in there you can change them to whatever you want, right? And also in Trello, you can change all of those cards to adapt to anything you want. Now, we talk about this more in the onboarding meeting, but what you're going to want to do is have a static board because we really only when we do updates and stuff, we only use Trello, but and the doc, the Word formats, and the PDF, but you'll be able to take those from that format and then reformat the specific ones that you've changed, and you'll be able to see actually what updates we do each month. And that's pretty important. We've got a thing called the master list, and that master list is a list of all the processes we have, a brief description, when the revisions were made, and most importantly, what revisions were made. So you'll be able to you're going to be able to alter your processes, and then if we make a revision or we do a large update to a process, we're going to tell you on that master list, hey, this is the specific thing that we made a change to, and then you're going to be able to go over to your process and just make that quick change, just a copy paste, and then it should populate across your entire company. If you do it correctly there. So, yes, you can alter the processes, John, if you want to. Okay, Steve says that he only has 4 products on Amazon right now. Right. So Amazon, once again, I think a lot of people in here are Amazon sellers, which makes sense. Amazon in the e-commerce space is just absolutely huge and blowing up right now. So Steve has 4 products. He wants to know whether this would be good for his business. So there's a couple trains of thought here, Steve. I want to say yes to you, and really the answer, if you want the big picture, then the answer is yes. So I want to ask you things like, if you think your sales are going to explode, then yes, this is going to be good. If you feel that in the next, say, year, you want to expand to 100 products and you want to make that scale real quick, then the answer is yes. The answer is going to be a hard no if you are planning on only staying at 4 products. If you only have 4 products, then maybe this isn't the set of processes for you, because I guess it's a return on investment, and you have to sort of ask yourself, what is the return on investment with this? Honestly, even with 4 products, you probably could get a decent return on investment on this, depending on how big those products are, right? Saying you only have 4 products, well, there's some products out there that the single product sells $1 million gross per year, and there's other products that sell, maybe $500 a month, right? So I'm going to say yes. But here's a point I want to make to you, is that, and you saw that in the presentation earlier, is that it's better to be a proactive Paul and not be a reactive Ray. So maybe you're a little bit smaller now, but you have big plans to get up to that 7-figure mark, and you want to do it fast, really fast, then it's better to be proactive about that. It's better to have the processes in place, and you have been able to go through them and make sure that they're going to fit your company and your business fundamental style before you have to make that leap. And that's like I said, once again in the webinar, that's one of the mistakes I made, was that I was a reactive Ray. So all of a sudden my company exploded and I had nothing in place, which is terrible because, like, I mean, I'm an expert. I'm a known industry expert in making those processes. And here I am up there making processes for giant international companies, and I'm trying to run my own thing that's going to benefit me, and I didn't have them in place. It was just terrible. Like when you talk about failures in business, for me, that was a huge failure, and it pretty much almost broke our entire company. Luckily, I was able to quickly get around that, but that was only from experience. And still, there was huge amounts of problems and struggles related to that. It was really a tough place to be, and so that's why I want to bring up the proactive Paul versus the not, the reactive Ray, because they are very important pieces of the puzzle in scaling. The smart CEO, the smart owner is always trying to be one or two steps ahead. If you're in those Facebook groups with those gurus all the time and you're learning from your mistakes, then you are a reactive Ray. And there is no better way to say that. You're a reactive Ray, and it hurts your business. And every time you have to react instead of proact, then you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting resources. And honestly, when it comes down to this industry, and if you have a strong brand, then you are hurting your brand name by doing that. Sometimes some of these things can be an absolute PR nightmare. And you don't want to run into that, And I guess as the proactive Paul side of things, you are at 7 figures and scaling from 6 to 7 figures. You are for sure going to need processes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So if you are planning on making that jump, then I'm going to say the answer is yes. It is going to be good for your business. It's difficult to have processes and call them not good for your business, right? What do? A process is going to increase the value of your business. If someone's going to come in and purchase your business from you, and they see, oh, look, they have all the processes in place, this and that adds immense value to your business. But if you're going to go out there and try and sell your business, and the buyer's like, oh, how do you operate your business? So what do you do in this situation? Well, how are you doing that? What are you doing here? And you have no documentation to back that up. They immediately, and you may know what you're doing and you may be able to show them, but if you can't document it, the person who's purchasing your product is at a negotiation advantage. They take a look at that. They're like, okay, this person doesn't have their stuff together. They don't really know what they're doing. They're not able to put a couple different jobs together so that it'll be helpful. Their business is running sloppy. I know when we purchase other businesses, and that's sort of a lot of our business outline, is that we purchase other companies. But you take a look at that, and that's, for me personally, the first thing I ask. Okay, so what sort of process do you do for that? And if they can't give me an answer and it's sloppy, I've got a huge negotiation advantage, and I'm able to go in there and grow from, like, what's your typical, let's say, e-commerce company when it sells, let's say, 3 times, right? 3 times 3x. But if I see that, then I can go in there and say, 1.25. You really don't have your stuff together. I want 1.25 times, and in the end, that's just such a huge amount of money that you're leaving on the table, just because you didn't want to spend the time or let's say even the small amount of money to be able to have that in place and make sure that is perfected for your company. I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent there about buying and selling companies. Oh, did I mention? Oh, and negotiating. Did I mention that we have a process in there for negotiating? So that's a whole other thing. You know, you've got vendors out there that you could be negotiating with, and you don't have to do that negotiation on your own. There's a process for that. So Steve, you know, like I said, I kind of went off there on a bit of a tangent, but I hope that helped answer some of the questions you had. Okay. So next, let's take a look. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm gonna give it a few minutes here and see what sort of questions anyone else has. Okay, Sergey is asking how often the processes are updated. And that's a great question, actually. So we're constantly monitoring all of the different platforms associated with e-commerce. So obviously Amazon is a huge one, like I keep saying. I don't want people to think that we're only focused on Amazon here, though, because it's really a broader spectrum. We have the majority of our processes aren't Amazon specific, they're e-commerce specific, and they are for you to be able to run a business, not run an Amazon business. You know, you could be running you could make minor tweaks and run a brick and mortar business, or you could run a service business, or any of those sorts of things. You know, they're really a little bit broader for that. But when we do these updates, we're constantly monitoring all of the different platforms, like I said, and so we have to break these up into two different platforms, or not platforms, sorry, but into things called revisions, and then there's new processes. So each month, around the first of the month, we add all of the new processes that we've developed during the past month. So one of the problems that we have right now, Sergey, is we have so many processes in our business that we're trying to upload to the to our process platform that we haven't been able to do that yet. So we're madly trying to get these processes done up, and we're trying to put out, we have a goal of 15 processes per month that we've been uploading to the boards, and along with that, we also have revisions. And so these revisions are really the updates that I think that you're talking about. So what happens with these revisions is we have a master list, and that master list, like I was talking about before, has the processes that we've updated, the processes that we have in the actual package at that point in time. And then up at the top, so you can look at it quickly, we have hey, we added these processes this month, and they're at revision 0, right? And then just below that, we have a section on the master list called revisions. And what is in there is that we take the processes that we already have developed but we need to change, and we move those up to the revision section, and we tell you in detail what we changed why we changed it, and how you can implement it better. And then, of course, there's technical things like the revision number, when the revision was made, what the revision, it overrides the previous revision, stuff like that. That's more the technical side of things. But we're constantly monitoring and updating, revising all of our processes, and it's really easy for you to be able to see what we've done and how often we've done it and the revisions by using the master list that we put out. So that's I guess if you want a specific thing, it's once a month. We do a major dump of the processes and the revisions once a month.